Stephen, I want you to draw me like one of your French girls. Holding this. Holding. Only this.
Okay. But that won't help with the rumors.
Last thing I need is my face on another t-shirt, tacitly implying my homosexuality.
This would be the way to do that.
As a first not gay paying member of Mug Club, I expect to get what I want.
Okay, if you go over on the bed, on the casting couch, the not gay couch, the straight couch, just get in the couch. Put the mug by your face, a little bit right over to your. No, not by your whiskers. Can you adjust that? No, put it back. Put it back. Yeah, put it back. Okay. Now, eyes on me. Eyes on the mug. Put the eyes off me. Put them on the mug. Keep the eyes on the mug. Okay. Perfect. Don't look me in the face.
So serious.
Oh, I believe you to be blushing, Mr. Late Night. I can't imagine Trevor Noah blushing.
He's a Just relax your face. No laughing. Think Jimmy Kimmel. The party at Joe Rogan's house. How many? We'll talk about Nick DiPaolo later.
Infinite just discovered his hose.
Yeah. The naturally occurring chemical in your mind.
It's 420 every day.
So glad. I love Joe. He's going to be on the show, I think, here sometime soon. Or actually, we'll be back. Either you'll be with me on the Joe Rogan show or Bill Richmond to talk about the YouTube and the legal stuff. Hold on. We haven't brought it. We have great guests today. We have Nick DiPaolo.
Boom.
Just fired from Sirius Radio for what I think is a perfectly acceptable tweet.
What?
And then we have Dave Rubin, who you never know what he's going to say.
You don't.
Not to mention
Generally, he doesn't surprise you.
Hodgetwins as well.
Not to mention the Hodgetwins. Yeah, we have the Hodgetwins, a little cameo from the Hodgetwins. And if Sound Guy Edward, maybe you can bring up my mic a little bit. I don't know why. I'm hearing myself like I'm talking in a pool, which is silly. Producing with me in video studio, as always, is Jared, who is not gay. Sounds great. Follow him on Twitter at NotGayJared. Meet us, credit with your comments, your thoughts, your photoshops, that fulfillment, legal obligations, your own conclusions. Are we good?
Am I not gay after that sketch?
I have no idea.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah. Certainly not. You're not doing yourself any favors, love. And then we have sommelier, simplifiedwine.com, G. Morgan Jr. What's the wine of the day?
We have Black Sears Zinfandel.
Black Sears Infidel. Is that like a Sears that sets up in an urban demographic? I don't know. It sounds like a terrible bottle of wine. Anything with black in the name of the wine.
Right.
And we have Sven Computer. Are you ready for the overlays?
I'm ready for the overlays. I want to give a shout out to the Twitter account at Sven.
That's his own.
He went back to like the normal way.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We're just not going to renew his work visa.
Oh, no.
He's not here on a work visa. He's here illegally. And Hoppercam, by the way, for people who don't know. So here, listen, question of the day before we move on. What do you think about the Kanye West situation? We're going to be talking about that, more so about the idea sort of black Democrats as a monolith at large and the backlash from the media. Question number 2, how many people out there are long-time enough listeners that you remember Kanye as our bump music? And here's the thing, just to confirm, what was the bump? We used one specific Kanye bump for the last segment before the drowning dance, before we went on YouTube, and then we got hit with a copyright violation. So,
rightfully so.
No more Kanye. I've always said, the guy's an ass, but a very talented MC.
Yeah, not bad.
All right, well, listen, top story, Bill Cosby was found guilty.
Oops.
The sexual assault retrial. Comedian Bill Cosby. This comes from HuffPo just because we can take the story from anywhere. Don't necessarily trust them. But don't take it as a vote of confidence.
Exactly.
Found guilty on 3 felony counts of aggravated indecent assault. Really the indecent at that point almost seems. He was retried on 3 felony counts of aggravated indecent assault for drugging and basically.
Is there a decent assault?
Yeah.
What would that be?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm sure that must have been argued.
That must be what you do to me.
You see, my assault was decent because it wasn't she. I took him to a nice fancy restaurant. Blah, blah.
Now,
Did he drug himself in that one? Or
many people are. He often did. That's the thing. He drugged both of them. He just had a higher tolerance.
There you go.
It was like a game of chicken with
We'll both
roofies.
do it.
Don't play with Roman Polanski. So many are saying that this is a landmark case, obviously, for victims of sexual assault. Now, some are arguing that it doesn't go far enough in punishing this sort of pervasive male abuse of power. However, with unilateral agreement that the ruling will definitely hurt pre-orders for Mr. Cosby's dating tips, it puts the bill and then it rates her.
He's so old at this point. Is he really Is he really a threat to society at this point?
He's going to break a hip in the shower.
He's going to be a rough go.
Someone will break his
America's
hip in the shower.
dad is going to jail for this. I'm just like, what world
America's
do I live
doctor.
in now? No, it was America's dad.
He was was he a family doctor, Dr. Huxtable?
Yeah, he was a family doctor, but he
Imagine sending your kids to that doctor.
Everybody.
well, he
They
saw a
come
lot of
home,
pregnant
how's it?
women.
I don't want to talk about it.
He saw a lot of pregnant women too. So I'm just saying.
Made a lot of pregnant women too.
Ow.
They just weren't aware.
Whoa.
The British Veterinary Association, by the way, is now warning that dogs cannot get autism as the anti-vaxxer movement is now apparently spreading to pets. This comes from the Telegraph. The BVA said, "We are aware of an increase in anti-vaccination pet owners in the U.S. who have voiced concerns about vaccinations that may lead to their dogs developing autism-like behavior, but there is currently no scientific evidence to suggest autism in dogs or a link between vaccination and autism." Well, tell that to my dog who will exclusively fly Qantas, okay? And of course, this actually might put a damper on Disney's new Christmas release. Air Bud 19, Buddy places 4th at the Special Olympics.
This explains a lot of the behavior of Shih Tzus to me.
There ain't nothing in the rule book that says dogs can't be retards.
You know, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close may have been a serviceable film if it was a dog.
If it was
There
a
you go.
dog.
Instead of that annoying kid. Throw in Dean Cain, you got a classic.
Or maybe there was a dog director.
Instead, I just wanted to swallow Tide Pods.
13 semis, big trucks lined up on a Detroit freeway to help a man who was considering suicide. So I think we have a clip, right?
Do you have a clip?
Yeah, look, this is...
There was a man on top of the bridge. Authorities believe he was about to take his own life.
They start to grab semi-drivers, and troopers standing there and were able to line these semi-trucks underneath that overpass. So it's kind of like a safety net to make sure if he moved anywhere in that overpass, there was a semi there.
Well, listen, come
He's
on.
motivated, he can hit it.
And it was a valiant effort. Unfortunately, their valiant efforts proved futile as Detroit has actually just installed the suicide lane on their freeway. So
It's helpful to mark those.
There's so many plot holes in this.
By the way, fun fact for Detroit, faster than the police response time, it seems now, to people committing suicide is the other guy at the end of the CB radio from Joyride.
Detroit's a city in comeback. We have loads of burgeoning coffee houses and inspiring art districts. The acid rain washes everything clean.
Just telling me like pink champagne, man. No one in the pitch room aside from Johnny Boy had seen Joyride.
It's true.
Was that the candy cane thing?
Yeah,
Candy cane. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. I'm tracking with you. That's creepy.
actor in the Buffalo Bill.
Point is, some days you just pick the wrong bridge.
Yeah.
Some days you just... In Detroit, every bridge is the wrong bridge.
Yeah.
You've heard of A Bridge to Nowhere? It's The Bridge to Rape, which is another bestseller from Bill
yes.
Cosby. Just, visit Detroit!
Suicide is the fastest way, fun fact, to get out of Detroit. So, you know, if you're looking for the bus, just don't.
Suicide's a fast track.
It's just much easier to walk into downtown without a bulletproof vest. That's the easiest way to commit suicide.
Yes. Hey, by the way, breaking news. It's hashtag Lesbian Visibility Day. This has been trending all over the place because it's a slow news week. So the Pink News, they released their list about, you know, their lack of visibility for lesbians and how to help them, how to raise visibility in society for lesbians. And then, of course, some people aren't necessarily as capable at spotting lesbians. So, you know, let me consolidate the list for you. Simplified version: if she drives a Subaru Outback.
Wait, I tried to date a girl.
If there's more than one bumper sticker, you know she's taken. She's off the market
Yes.
too.
More than one bumper sticker on a Subaru Outback. Also, if she eats at Outback.
That's terrible.
I'm going to drive my Subi to get prime.
Subi.
Hey, you know, move on. Just so you know what a great boss I am. I have to shave a lot when we do a lot of these when we do costumes and stuff. So I have to get razors that I can shave quickly and change my hair. And I gave Jared my old trimmer when I got a new trimmer recently, and I was excited about it. And I gave it to him. I was like, "Hey man, take this it's been a great trusty trimmer to me." And the problem is I didn't realize the new one just totally gnarled up my face.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask Jared if I could trade him the newer, more expensive one because I have like hairs that grow. If I could trade him, but I felt I didn't want to be an Indian giver that I spent like $150 finding one from another country of the old version.
By the way, they prefer South Asian.
Yes, they prefer South Asian. Because you know what it is? It's the titanium blades. They don't do that anymore. Now they're all stainless.
Well, here's the thing. You better be glad he didn't give it back. He does his manscaping with the one you gave him.
I don't care.
You don't want that. You don't want that around your lips.
It's such a big difference. It is such a big difference, and it's such a good trimmer. And I made a mistake. I made a mistake, and I regretted it. Hey, a transgender inmate sued a North Carolina prison to practice witchcraft. I'm trying to think of the way to set it up that provides context so you can, and I can't.
No.
Jennifer Ann Jasmine, a man, says in his handwritten federal lawsuit that Lansborough Correctional Institution is blocking the practice of his spiritual beliefs, which happen to be rooted in witchcraft. Though some are saying, listen, if you've seen Orange is the New Black, some people try to work the system, and actually there's been a recent special with an interview from some of this transgender's inmates who question the story.
Wicca? I ain't never heard of no damn Wicca. What's that, witchcraft? Ain't no damn witchcraft, man. All that damn screaming abracadabra bullshit, pulling your dick out. Yeah, that's all he was doing. Yeah. I mean, she was doing abracadabra, abracadabra. Oh, look at that. Hey, you a real musician. Why don't you turn that nice sweet of yours into some nice hot wet I need something to sell, man. Yeah, that's a good idea. That'd be all kinds of magic. I'm going first. What?
I don't know how that'll go over that we use them as inmates, but you know what? They're half white inmates, so that's
kinds
okay.
of magic.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Magic.
Yeah.
I would not want to run into them in prison.
I don't think they're the kind of guys who you'd ever see in prison. They're actually
they're more
really nice.
they're more into bitchcraft, anyways.
Yes, they're more into bitchcraft.
They're tough. You know what I mean? Like tough dudes.
A grandfather was jailed after servicing himself in front of his podiatrist. This is a story that comes to us from Salisbury. Where's Salisbury? Sun Computer. Where is it? Salisbury, Connecticut? What is it?
I think it's in Britain.
It's in Britain. Oh, that's right. It's in
it
Britain.
Has to be.
Thank you very much. You should know these things and write these things. A grandfather who serviced himself, comes from the Salisbury Journal, in front of a podiatrist while she treated his verrucus, I think that's a thing, varicus, and cut his toenails, denied the indecent exposure, but admitted pleasuring himself during a foot health appointment, and it's Dick Morris.
Oh. Should have seen that one coming.
Why specify grandfather? That has nothing to do. That's like saying like Uncle P.B. Herman serviced himself in a theater. Like it doesn't matter.
Headline if it weren't a grandfather.
Yeah, I know the grandfather. I mean,
it adds that extra layer of je ne sais quoi.
Is that what turns
people
on sometimes? Oh, she's touching my feet.
It's the umami of clickbait. Hey, by the way, hit the notification bell if you're watching this on YouTube. Oh, Hopper Cam, he's getting up. He decides he wants to leave right now. Right as we're doing. All right,
he's like, screw it, done.
Hit the notification bell because
He's
YouTube
union.
sucks. And apparently, by the way, people aren't getting notified even if they hit the notification
Even though so
hit the bell.
We'll move on with news and
make us
the
feel better,
Kanye
though.
West and kind of explain the whole thing. But a Massachusetts preschool has now banned kids from using the term best friend. This comes from ABC7. After an incident with the 4-year-old, Julia Hartwell, the school explained to Hartwell that the term best friend can lead other children to feel excluded, and it can ultimately, quote, lead to formation of cliques and outsiders. And the school encourages students to have a wider, quote, group of friends, was explained to the transgender kids from the transgender principal from the girls' bathroom. Let's get rid of best friends. This is the frontier.
Let's get rid of best teachers and best schools and best principals as well.
You know, you think everything in writing, but the fact is that's why teachers' unions exist.
It's true.
Oh, yes, it's true.
Is he a good teacher? We don't want him. Just put him in a rubber room, leave him alone.
Truth is, without exclusivity, that's the only thing that's the only incentive for kids not to be giant a-holes.
Yeah. Yeah,
you need a little exclusion.
Need a little exclusion.
If you're a jerk,
it's good for the soul.
Social pressure.
Well, you know that very well because you were homeschooled in.
Well, I was not.
No, he was.
No, he was.
And his mom wouldn't breastfeed him. So in Nebraska, he was stuffed in a locker by his uncle.
Ow!
And it was a Foot Locker.
You should sue.
With the podiatrist in there going.
It was a private story.
So Nebraska, by the way, has finally stopped horsing around from this headline, and it's actually legalizing massage therapy for horses. Equine massage therapy, I believe. Thanks to a newly signed bill, Nebraskans no longer need to license themselves to massage cats or dogs or horses. The bill was actually spurred on by Karen Hoff, who began massaging horses at her farm in central Nebraska as a way to become financially more stable. After being issued a cease and desist, she was forced to shut her business down. She then pushed for the new law, which has now just been passed. It's now allowed. Though some suspect ulterior motives at play, given her notorious business partner, Sal the horse groper. People think that he might have been impure.
I'm confused. People didn't want her to massage horses and cats.
I guess there's another example of red tape.
I mean, you can massage as long as she's massaging the cat like underwater for about 30 minutes,
It's
just
more
to make
about
sure.
the horses. Let's be honest.
Can you imagine that? Can you picture an Asian massage parlor for horses? Thinking about this story, I'm like, I've never seen an Asian on a horse. Have you ever seen an Asian on a horse?
Which, you know what? Doesn't make a whole lot of
I have
sense.
not. I didn't think about it till today.
They don't even need to train to be
don't-
jockeys. They could just dominate that market.
It's true. That's true.
Just put them on a show horse, let them go.
Let them go for it.
Awesome.
Rip them loose.
We're terrible.
Nick DiPaolo is definitely not getting his job back.
Nope.
Serious.
No.
After this intro, we have Nick DiPaolo and Dave
Toast.
Rubin on today. Who do we have on first, by the way?
We have DiPaolo on first.
We have DiPaolo on first. Okay. I'm really looking forward to having DiPaolo on. So let's talk about Kanye West. Again, the question, what's your opinion? What's your read on the Kanye West situation? For those who don't know, Kanye West threw the media into an uproar as he tweeted out positive things about conservative pundits, and he supported ideas like freedom and thought. These are his unbelievably controversial tweets. Now, although
that's controversial, right?
Conservatives are one thing they're a little eager to embrace Kanye as their new thought leader, which I don't think is the best idea.
Right.
Here's the thing: think whatever you want. I really don't care if you like Kanye. I've always liked. We used to use him as our bumps. I think he's a talented MC. He's not someone I would look to as some kind of a new philosopher. But you know what? I'm glad to see someone making some progress, and I hate to see the pig pile on anyone for making an.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned though. I swear, the moment that I go in and I'm like, yes, a tweet's gonna come out and be like, I was kidding, man.
Yeah, you never know. Well,
got y'all.
One thing that's not a joke is, of course, how the left reacted and lost their mind. So that we know. Let's go to clip A.
Kanye has lost his mind.
Being in the lobby at Trump's house, I thought that was a coon move.
A new game we're starting here on Friday.
Cooning for cash.
He's a total and utter moron. He's one of the dumbest guys in the country. He's so dumb, he's Trumpian in his level of intelligence. Just understand, buyer beware, Kanye West is a selfish conservative prick.
First off, he's not really. First off, he shouldn't. Do you have any idea how quickly he would go after anyone else for saying "buyer beware" about a black person?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, buyer beware! What you think about black people? Make him grease. Okay.
And he's stupid. He's Trumpian.
Mission Cenk Uygur to go after Kanye, and of course the media has been calling him a member of the alt-right. That's what's been going on lately. Kanye West is a member of the alt-right. Keep in mind, by the way, they're only mad at him now, saying this is the man who said he was the Black Jesus.
Yes. Yes.
So the fact that he said, oh, you know what, I like what some of these people on Fox News have to say, this is what sends them around over the bend. And by the way, you don't have to defend everything Kanye's ever done just to see the dog pile that's taking place. Keep in mind, this is the same guy who did say this.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Possibly the greatest reaction in all of live television.
I think what's funny is it doesn't matter how inconsequential you are. Everyone knows Kanye's a psychopath. Everyone knows, like, this is the same guy who literally married a Kardashian and is the runner-up to countless Grammys and names his kids after compasses.
Exactly.
Directions. So, like,
you don't have to defend even his opinions or whatever he's saying. You just have to defend his right to express his opinion freely. And by the way, and it is brave. I will say there is some bravery at play here, because if we want to talk about bravery, slapping on a pair of fake rubber tits while you still have your penis to do a spread for Vanity Fair, that's not brave in 2018. Okay, coming out of anything other than a far left progressive is career suicide in Hollywood. And let's be honest, Kanye, whether you like him or not, Kanye is still a hot ticket item in the hip hop community.
Yeah.
So I do give respect to the guy for going against the grain.
Could you imagine, though, if someone more consequential came out? Like, could you imagine? It's like the left being mad that Roseanne Barr, if she stepped out a lot. Oh, they did.
Yeah, exactly. They went all afterwards.
Well, I got to say, I bring this up. Like, how many people do you think are in that industry that would have the same views as Kanye, but won't say it because they know they'll just be out of the industry?
Right.
Right. So maybe this opens the door for a few more people.
And how much of it is he's just stupid? You know, he's really controversial. I don't.
Could be on a bender. Who knows?
I don't know. And the point is, I'm not going to condemn any conservatives who want to embrace the guy right away. But I'm not going to condemn people who don't either. I'm certainly not. My opinion hasn't changed of him. I do respect someone willing to take an unpopular position. Now, here's one thing. We'll talk with Nick DiPaolo about this. I do appreciate the lack of apology, because when you see cases like Shania Twain apologizing for simply saying in an impromptu interview that she may have voted for Trump, It legitimizes the premise that merely voting for Trump is an apology-worthy offense. Or Jay Feely apologizing for taking a picture with a gun. Was that what it was?
Yeah, with a prom picture. Yeah.
So when conservatives when people like Kanye don't apologize, it really tips the left hand as seen by it tips their hand when you see by their pure vitriolic hatred.
Yeah.
They didn't ask these people to apologize for racism. Okay, here's one thing all the time. I go, well, can we get an apology? They just asked for an apology for Apu. This is why you don't apologize unless you genuinely believe that you are wrong. They didn't ask Kanye or Shania or Freely to apologize for racism or for sexually inappropriate rants caught on camera. They've asked them to apologize for opinions that, by the way, half the country holds. The half of the country who elects presidents.
It's true. And I don't believe for 1 second that this would be any less controversial if he had simply said he doesn't mind Donald Trump.
No,
that's the point too. Like,
exactly.
There's neutrality is not an option anymore. So I think it's kind of a good thing in some ways. We're seeing that they're so vitriolic. Let's just be all in for Trump or all not, which is kind of cool.
And
one
thing, like him or hate him, don't expect Kanye to be apologizing anytime soon, especially if his latest mixtape is any example.
La, 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 wait till I get my Twitter right. I had a dream I could tweet my own opinion. All those who woke sent me all their minions. I told Chank he could eat a bag of feces. Man, that is so covered in greases. To Black Twitter, my views expected. Support Sean King and Gatorade Blue Vested.
Seems like he's rehashing some stuff, but I appreciate where this
on the way number one of the bottom list.
This has to be expected, though, by the way. You were going to say something, Gerald?
Yeah, most of the tweets weren't even, they were just saying he's for free thought and free expression. A few of the tweets said he supported this person and that person, and that was it. But every time people are getting pissed off, it's like, man, I just want my own thoughts. I want to be able to express myself. And they're like, you can't do that.
Yeah, I don't
You're on our team. You can't.
This is about defending someone's right to express a view, whether it's popular or not. Remove what you think of Kanye, and also look how the left attacks anyone who steps out of line. That's what I think is important. So right away, you see Kanye just saying, okay, here's a MAGA hat. I support Donald Trump. You're going to be accused of being a racist. We see it all with people who are moderates, like Sam Harris, Brett Weinstein, who was vilified by students. Just roll the clip.
But why are you so hostile about this? It's gross. It's racist. It's not. But it's so not. It's like saying those you're a shifty Jew.
I don't care what happens to Brett anymore. He can go and be racist and be a piece of wherever he wants to do that. Hopefully, long term, we can just weed out people like Brett.
Yeah, just weed out people like Brett, weed out people like Sam Harris, an atheist who endorsed Hillary Clinton, weed out people like Kanye West, who was supportive of the Black Panthers, I believe, claimed he was Black Jesus, but now he stepped out in line and supported Trump. Just think of this for a second. Think of what is acceptable to the left in the entertainment industry versus what they find appalling. And by the way, let's look at this objectively. Is it really that crazy for a black person to be fed up with the DNC in 2018?
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at this historically. FDR's New Deal cost hundreds of thousands of blacks their jobs because of minimum wage requirements. Remember LBJ's The Great Society? It increased welfare payments for single mothers and incentivized them. Some people will argue that it single-handedly started the fatherless household epidemic you see today in the black community. Andrew Breitbart got in so much trouble one time. Remember, he said, I thought black people were better as a family unit under Jim Crow than after LBJ. He didn't say he supported Crow laws. He was talking about the destruction of the family unit in the black community, which is terrible. It absolutely is. They had strong marriage rates. They had a very low divorce rate. So, and if you look at that, they've been taking the vote for granted from blacks. You can watch some black, you can watch Alfonso Rachel. Listen, I get it. I'm a white guy here. You don't necessarily care about what I have to say, but in 1965, 21% of black infants were born to single mothers. Okay, to give you a stat, in 2016, it's almost 70% are out of wedlock. So maybe there's a reason that people like Killer, Chance the Rapper, and I can't get the names right. I know I'm very white. They're just I think I mixed. Is it Killer? No,
it's Chance the Rapper and Killer Mike.
Killer Mike.
But Killer Mike was the one who stole the microphone from Bernie. I think.
Yeah,
it was going to be hilarious. I can't keep.
I watch that every morning.
Large angry black men. Do they run together? Yeah, little bit. Kind of like jockeys.
They try to run.
If we want to talk about more recently, black Americans, they lost a huge amount of wealth due to Obama's housing policies. Race relations got worse under Barack Obama. Black incomes fell by more than $900 per family adjusted for inflation under President Obama. On the other hand, blacks under President Trump, black unemployment's at record low. Their income is high. The tax cuts have helped minorities disproportionately. So let's take away Kanye West, let's take away Killer Mike, let's take away HuffPo, and let's just look objectively. Is it okay for black people to step off the Democratic plantation at this point? Objectively, Your Honor, does it hold water? By the way, not to mention that if people like us who are accused of being racist would have their way, all black Americans would have school choice. They'd have the ability to defend themselves in areas that are rife with gang crime. We would stop you from killing the black babies. If you want to talk about racists, okay, if you want to talk about people who are evil, it's usually not the people trying to save black babies and give black children the choice on where to send their kids to school. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in.
Right on cue.
At the close. Think about this for a second, okay? When they say you're the bad guys. Well, in general, bad people aren't the ones trying to prevent baby deaths.
No.
But now we say you're the racist. Really? You are when we talk about you, the DNC, the actual, and by the way, when people love to do this now, whether it's on YouTube or I don't believe in labels, man. No, we're talking about the labels. Lyndon Johnson, FDR, Planned Parenthood, Hillary Clinton, the Democratic National Committee, Bernie Sanders. Sorry, Bernie bros who switched to Trump. You don't get to escape this one. The label is DNC, Democrats. That's the label. I hope I've crystallized it for you. They are the party who said, where are the most amount of blacks? Let's set up abortion clinics so that we can kill more blacks. If you're going to accuse people of racism, it's generally not the people going, wait. Maybe we shouldn't be using taxpayer dollars to kill the baby blacks. Maybe that's why Kanye's had enough.
I'm just saying how I feel, man. I ain't like Bill Cosby. I ain't rape no kids, man. So what if I support his tax plan? Still banging Kardashian. La, 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 la. Wait till I get my Twitter right. La, 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 la. Then you can't tweet me nothing, right? Excuse me, did you tweet something? Nah, you can't tweet me nothing. Nah, you can't tweet me nothing. Ha ha, you can't tweet me nothing.
Not necessarily new content, but I appreciate his zeal. Nick DiPaolo coming up next, and then Dave Rubin.
Ooh.
Greetings, America. Hopper here in my silky soft ranger panties, available at lottoscrattershop.com. But more important is that you join Mug Club. If you're a student, veteran, or active military, it's only $69 a year. And if you don't join, then they won't be able to fix my other bad knee. I got a bad knee. I need another knee surgery. Oh my God, there's cheeses. Everyone join Mug Club.
This in the rap videos. I'm like, that's either a really inner city thing or one hell of an ad for Selsun Blue. Like they've permeated the inner cities. In which case, they also find themselves at odds with the Bloods.
It is very true.
Very glad to have our next guest. And when I say this often, but I mean it. I've said this so many times for people who haven't heard him on the show. Since we've kind of grown quite a bit since the last time he was on the show, I've always said two people I think are the funniest comedians working, period. Alive, probably, period, when I think about him, who make me laugh. Norm Macdonald and this guy. I think he is the funniest stand-up comic, certainly working today. And I know that's a lot of brown-nosing, and he'll give me crap for it right when he comes out. But right now, he's going to be starting back up his own podcast on his own YouTube channel. Highly recommend you guys go and subscribe. Show him your love. YouTube.com/Nick DiPaolo Tube, or follow him on Twitter, Nick DiPaolo, P-A-O-L-O. Mr. DiPaolo, did I get those right?
Yeah, 8 p.m. Monday night, I'll be doing that.
8 p.m. Monday night. Okay, well, that's your first time back on the YouTube in a while.
That's right. First time back. Yeah, absolutely.
And what's the reason for this, Nick, going on the YouTube?
Well, I'm sure you heard I was canned by Sirius.
Well, I didn't know how to enter into like. So tell us about the firing.
Yeah. So I don't know. I tweeted something that didn't sit well with them. Apparently, ironically, it didn't get me in trouble on Twitter.
Yeah.
So next thing I know, I get a call from my agent. I could tell in his voice, we got a problem here. And I go, yeah, we had this conversation 8 times, but so they thought it was a hanging offense. I personally thought maybe suspension at best. But these are the days we live in. I don't hold any grudges against Sirius. I mean, am I disappointed and a little angry at them right now? Yeah. But they're like any other corporation. They seem to fold under pressure.
Yeah, I don't understand it, though. They knew what they were getting with Nick DiPaolo. I mean, Nick, your body of work is so extensive. And if you don't, I'm going to read the tweet. We were talking about this off air when people have done this before we showed up, like in Illinois. Well, we don't agree with everything Steven says. Well, then shut up. I don't care. I don't need to sit. And by the way, I don't have any problem with what Nick DiPaolo tweeted out. No. So his tweet was, Dear future school shooters, please confine yourself to college campuses, specifically faculty lounges at Berkeley, Fresno State, etc. That's my Nick DiPaolo impression. That's funny. That's what
it was where I think I say poorly worded when I said confine yourself to college campuses. I shouldn't have, that part might have, they're like, I could have left the college campuses out. I could have just said faculty lounges at Berkeley, maybe.
Yeah, I think they would have made the inference, Nick.
I don't. We're so hypersensitive. If you read it like that, it dawned on me on the way home, like 24 hours later. I'm like, that part might have been, well, he's encouraging. We have to get over this mentality that you put a tweet out like that, that means somebody's going to do something.
Right.
We have to get over that. You make a gay joke, that means a gay guy's going to get beat up tonight.
Right.
We have to get the over that mentality.
Yeah, well, did you just see, we talked about this yesterday, The Simpsons, Hank Azaria apologized for Apu, the character, because I didn't mean for it to ever hurt anyone. I think the most important thing is to listen. Have you always thought that, Nick? The most important thing as a stand-up comedian is to listen?
And
that's our job, to listen. We're psychologists.
I'm a stand-up, which means I shoot my mouth off for an hour and then I do a radio show. I shoot my mouth off for another. What makes you think I even want to listen to anybody?
Exactly.
I mean, all my jobs involve me controlling the conversation. So, but when you apologize like that, you're empowering the PC people, are you not?
No, that's exactly what I said yesterday. You know what you're doing? You're empowering. Let's think of it as a stand-up room. And you tell me if you agree with this or not, but this was kind of the analogy I used. The rest of the room is laughing. The Simpsons. Immensely successful. Yeah. People are not offended. HuffPo gets offended. This Indian comedian who claimed to be a comedian made a documentary complaining about it. I don't know who he is. That's a heckler. And you've now given the heckler in the crowd as much legitimacy as the comedian saying, no, hold on. I want to hear why he's booing. He has the right to be heard. I don't think they do. That's how I see it.
Not in a comedy club, they don't. They can, they can voice their displeasure on social media or whatever, but yeah, no, absolutely not.
Not in the cartoon realm either. Not in the comedy adult cartoon realm. Why do we care?
Right. I mean, no, I agree. You empower them with the apology, and I just don't. It's just odd. I didn't really get in trouble on Twitter, and I took it down fairly quickly. So.
Oh, that's why you took it down. That was your mistake. I hate to say it. That was your mistake. It's like a T-Rex. Their vision is based on movement, and if you take it down, like, oh, what went down? And they go into the time machine, and then they let you have it.
I guess so, because I still got canned. So I guess if I left it up there, would they hang me?
No, I just think they would have been like, oh, okay, that's Nick. I don't know. It's really tough to gauge with those things. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
You're right, and here's what makes it a little more complicated. There's a couple of theories that, look, my contract was up in a couple of weeks.
Right.
With that. So there's a one theory, like my agent believes, and I just made it easy for them with that tweet. Let's say they didn't want to renew me. I don't think they thought the show was going to get as popular as it did, as quick as it did.
It was immensely popular for people who don't know.
Remember, I started at 6 p.m., and after a few months, they moved me to 8. Which tells me they might have been a little scared right there.
Right.
It might have been too rough for their style. So they moved me to 8 p.m. Again, this is all speculation on my part. But it sort of makes sense. Either way, whether they fired me because of the tweet or they weren't going to renew me anyways because of my politics, either way, it's because of I believe because the show was a little too rough for them.
Yeah, well, no, I think it's more about your politics. Everyone knows, Nick DiPaolo's rough.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, your politics. Because here's the deal.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's offended by dirty, right? They get the Just for Laughs when they have the nasty show. It's the nasty show. Someone's going to talk about their vagina.
Genre.
But the second you start talking about some things that make people uncomfortable politically, I mean, genuinely politically incorrect, which you do. I don't want to label you a conservative. I just think you're an anti-authoritarian, brilliant comic. I think that's what they have a problem with more. I don't think they were surprised at the roughness. I think they were surprised at how outspoken you were politically and culturally. That's what bothers them. That's what advertisers shy away from.
Well, leaning right, you mean, with my club. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Again, I'm not bitter at Sirius. I don't get mad at these. They gave me an opportunity. I'm going to use it as a springboard.
Right.
This opportunity, because come on, I'm going to go to work for myself, and
right,
and even Joe Rogan texted me saying how angry he was, and a few other people. So
and then he offered you some DMT.
Yeah,
it'll open your mind to the possibilities of what you can do.
I do an Advil PM and I'm screwed up. I don't come back. I'm scared shitless of that. I don't know how people do it. I'll never understand that.
Yeah, I know. I love Joe, but when I used to coach jujitsu, I'd have kids come in and they'd go like, "Yeah, I'm on DMT." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Because Eddie Bravo said that it was better to roll. It opens your mind." I'm like, "Oh my God, please don't do that." And then next thing you know, he's being tied up like a pretzel. Someone's breaking his arm. It didn't work. It didn't work. Well, I'm glad Joe reached out.
He ends up with a black belt around his neck in his closet.
Yes, exactly. It's the David Carradine submission. It's an effective submission. Now, see, I could have gotten fired if I had done that somewhere else, but I can't because I'm on YouTube. So where can people go to watch you on YouTube? It's youtube.com/Nick DiPaolo Tube.
That's correct.
Nick DiPaolo Tube. And I assume you're also going to be doing it on iTunes and kind of getting it out on different platforms?
Yeah, and I don't even know that that's going to be the final resting place of the show.
Right.
But Monday night is where I'm first time I'll be back since this incident with Sirius. But I don't. There's many options. I have many options. So
yeah.
I don't know that that's going to be the final landing point. There's something called what is it? Patreon.
Yeah.
You heard of that?
I've heard of Patreon. Yeah. I'm not a fan just because there's a bunch of hobos over there. It's basically like the online place for you have some people with legitimate enterprises, and you have hobos with their cup out. Like, hey, I want to do a show where I talk about the subplots of Game of Thrones. Like, get the hell out of here.
Is it really a nerd landing spot? Whatever.
There is for some, but not for you.
I don't know where it's going to end. I would like to, keep it on YouTube or whatever and get it out to my. I'm going to treat it just like the radio show. I want to do it like 4 nights a week and treat it like the radio show.
Well, you're a consummate professional. I will say that. Listen, you're a comedian, and comedians are typically known for being lazy and waking up, at noon looking for the leftover drugs. Nick is very professional. He always has been. You've always had a love for traditional radio. I've always known that.
I did that today. I woke up late looking for the drugs. I found my Lipitor.
Yes, found your Lipitor, and you saw the Advil PM. It's put it back. Put it back. That's for
exactly.
That's for later.
That's for later when we have a party. Well, Nick, where can people see you live here coming up too?
Oh, you froze up.
Oh, there we go. This is the new media.
Yeah, this weekend. I don't know. I'll give it to you right now. I did my homework. I sent you guys all this stuff.
I know. Okay, I have it. Nick is right. I have this. That's the name of the comedy tour.
The tour.
And I don't know exactly where, but people can obviously go to
Pottsville, Pennsylvania tonight. I mean Friday night. Excuse me.
Okay.
And the Kirby Center in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania on Saturday night.
So nickdip.com/tour for people who want to see all of the dates coming up. But, listen, don't let the bad... I mean, I know, okay, you probably have some friends there, but I think this is a good thing. And Nick DiPaolo deserves to be... The audience deserves to hear Nick DiPaolo unfiltered.
Unleashed, absolutely. I thought that's what satellite. I guess I'm naive. I thought that's what satellite.
Sure.
It was. At one point, it was for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not crapping on their product. I'm disappointed. I thought there'd be some more backbone there. But tomorrow night, the Majestic Theater in Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
And
Saturday night, the Kirby Center in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. And the next weekend, Jonathan's in Agunquit, Maine, and Schubert Theater in New Haven, Connecticut on May 5th. The final date of the tour.
Pottsville. Now, Pottsville, that's not the name of the town where the pharmacist crushed the eustachian tube in It's a Wonderful Life of the kid with the pharmacy. Was it Pottsville?
I
Pottersville?
I've only seen the porn version of it.
Yeah, it's all wonderful in general. No, I can imagine that. I would have thought. I remember at one point when Satellite came out, that's what people thought it was going to be. And I can just picture Nick walking in being disappointed, like, well, I thought it was going to be unfiltered. What are you putting me next to Dr. Laura Schlesinger in the 4th hour of Howard Stern? Where the producers light their balls on fire? What am I doing? Like, it really is a weird mix on Satellite.
Well, it's funny. When they moved me to 8 o'clock, the building is empty except for the studio next to me, which is Shade 45. It's all these black guys. Every night, it's a bunch of. I look and there's 14 guys in the studio. They got their mirror glasses on. There's always some prostitute looking chick. So I don't know if they're famous or not.
Are they grinding an ottoman?
I'd run it. I go into the I go to use the men's room and surrounded by 3 black guys with San Jose jersey shirts on, and
What did you ever find out what that was?
I had no idea, and boy, I'd always look in when I walked by, and you'd see 12 heads look at me. Apparently, they knew my material.
Yes, exactly.
They had this look in their eye, like, keep going, Whitey.
Right. Yeah, not so tough now that Patrice ain't here, huh? There you go. A joke about a comedian who died. We'll get in trouble for that one, too. Also was really funny, Patrice O'Neal.
Patrice is one of my favorites.
He was great. And I always wonder what a lot of people like that you never want to talk for someone who's not here, but what they would think about the state of comedy where people are apologizing. Let me ask you this final question, because we were talking about this yesterday with the Apu situation. And, now Amy Schumer's latest film where she's out talking about how it's just the goal is to empower women while you make a bunch of fat jokes and then at the end say it's okay. Do you genuinely, if you were to look and you have to grade it, comedy in 2018, it's pretty easy for people. We constantly, our sort of set point is to bitch about the good old days. But do you think that comedy in 2018 is in a worse place than it was 10, 20 years ago?
It depends, what your act is. I enjoy making people cry. I mean, upset, not laughing with tears, upset.
Right.
But I was ahead of the curve. I was making people upset at the Comedy Cellar 10, 15 years ago. But yes, I mean, it's hypersensitive. What the problem now, Stephen, I see a lot of these comedy clubs, which I'm not playing right now. These are nice theater venues, but a lot of these comedy clubs now are being run by people who have grown up, millennials who have grown up with this PC atmosphere, and it's in their DNA.
Right.
And I hear comics getting in trouble for doing rape jokes at a club or whatever. That's danger. I mean, that's dangerous. So I would say, but I sort of enjoy going against the grain. I always did, not intentionally. That was just in my DNA.
Right.
So, but I'm not back in the clubs right now, which I will be. I got to make a living. But I would say, it's a little. I don't like where it's headed.
Well, that's a good point. That's always what I remember. I talked with Joe Rogan about that, and he didn't agree. And I said, "Listen, you have a bit of a blind spot, Joe, because you're very successful." I said, "You don't understand. It's not just about the audience. It's about the people. It's about the gatekeepers now who aren't going to take that risk on a young Nick DiPaolo today, on a young Stephen. There's no way I could get stage time at an open mic with what we do. There's no possible way I could get started today because the club just isn't going to take the risk. You used to tell rape jokes, you used to commit rape in a club, and it was funny if it was on the right night.
No, you could crush and bring in tons of people, but just all it takes is one person.
All it takes is one person
to complain.
One person with one rape whistle, and you.
Well, a little known fact about rape whistles: it's actually like a dog. It's actually just very high pitched. It just calls more rapists. So in the end, it's actually one for the rapist. Put one up on the scoreboard for Cosby.
So I think to answer your question, I don't like where it's headed, and what makes me sick is when you go online and you read young comics defending this PC point of view.
Well, the guy made a documentary demanding that the Simpsons change Apu. And by the way, did you know this now? You can't say Indian. I just found this out. It's South Asian American. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not, and I will not change for any. I actually said, who cares? I say Indian when I'm talking about Native Americans. That's when they really get pissed.
Yeah, just stick with Indians. What do you mean, Indian?
I want to go on stage. My last show for this tour, I want to ride on stage like the guy does before the Florida State football games. I come in on that pony. Yeah. I get the headdress on, and I slam that flaming arrow into the stage.
There you go. Exactly. No, I think you're right.
That'll go viral, won't it? Apparently, that's the key to go viral. I I don't know, I throw a puppy into a fireplace, and anything to get, eyes on you.
No, if you throw a cat into a fireplace, you get defended for murder, like Stephen Avery and making a murder. They glossed over that part, but you have one tweet like Nick DiPaolo, and you get let go from Sirius. But I will say this. Your loss is everybody else's gain. YouTube.com/Nick DiPaolo Tube. Please go to nickdip.com/tour. And yeah, I agree with them. Just call them Indians and then Orientals. Let's continue with that. Nick, please come back sooner. I thought you were cross with me because you weren't on for so long, so I'm glad you.
No, dude. Please, I have plenty of people to be legitimately mad about, not you.
Well, I know, but you're a touchy dago. We never know how it's going to go.
I don't like to come on because you're young and good looking, and they remind me of me a few years. It kind of bugs me.
No, you're selling yourself short. I will say this: Nick DiPaolo is a good-looking man for his age. If you saw Nick DiPaolo when he was in his 20s, it was like Elvis Presley. He's about as good-looking as a man has ever walked this earth. Nick DiPaolo, I'm very jealous.
That's what Patrice said.
Yeah, you're a great-looking guy. Okay, Nick DiPaolo, YouTube.com/Nick DiPaolo Tube, and we'll be back after this. Thank you, sir. I'm looking forward to seeing from you.
See you guys. Thank you.
There it is again, so strong.
Oh, yes.
Welcome to Wild at Large on the Nature Network, narrated by Jasper Pronks. The lion, king of the jungle, an inspiration to many tales both young and old. The lion inspires power and fear in the hearts of those who see it. Here we see the lion in its natural mating habitat. Oh boy, look at that. That lion is hung like, well, a lion, I guess.
God damn it, Jasper.
What? I'm ad-libbing here. I'm giving it my own spin for the viewer.
Stick to the script. You can't talk about lion dicks, Jasper.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe we should change that. Stay tuned for more Wild at Large on the Nature Network, narrated by Jasper Pronks.
How effective as a grown man the two-palm shove is. 2-palm shove.
Really?
We're not supposed to talk about this on there. We're not supposed to talk about my first physical altercation as an adult male, but the person listening knows exactly who they are.
Point is, I brought guns to a nunchuck fight, and I won.
You brought guns. I had a switchblade, which was given to me that night as a gift, and I handed it to my father and said, please hold this as I'm about to proceed to kick this man's ass. And thank goodness Johnny Boy diffused it.
You did.
But it doesn't make me feel any less worse about it. Also feel terrible that our next guest, he just keeps bumping, and he's so in demand, he's so difficult, and now he has the beard because he wants to make himself seem more like a mountain man. I don't know what's going on with him. You know him, Rubin Report on the Twitter, and of course on the YouTube, very popular show, Rubin Report. Dave Rubin, how are you, sir?
Crowder, what's happening, man?
Your hair is shorter on the sides and long. You kind of have the Not Gay Jared haircut now.
I just got my haircut within the hour. This is a seriously fresh, tight situation. I'm going on tour with Peterson, so I had to get the haircut before we head out of town.
Now, what's a tour with Peterson like? What do you do?
So this Jordan Peterson guy, I know you are slightly aware of him.
Yeah, but do you do stand? Because I know you did stand up before. Are you doing stand up, like introducing him, and then he's like?
So this is I got two things going on. So with Jordan, I'm opening for him, kind of doing 10, 15 minutes of stand up. Maybe for some of them, we'll do a sit down together because the guy's doing about 35 of these, and it's a lot to take in to just talk for 2.5 hours. So hopefully, I can take some of the burden off him on that. But you will be very proud, and I think you're one of the people that dragged me back into this kicking and screaming. I did my first hour of stand-up about a week and a half ago at the Irvine Improv, sold out, standing ovation, and the manager there said in her 18 years she's never seen a sold-out standing ovation. So we just booked DC Improv, Tempe Improv, and I'm just going to be bouncing around. And
I wasn't the one who dragged you into that. I told you to stay away.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, it was. It definitely. I think you're confusing me with your father or your mother or someone, or perhaps your lover also named Dave. I was incredibly unsupportive, but I'm glad to hear it went well.
I assure you that it was not my parents that told me to get back into
stand up. Well, no, listen, I'm glad. If you'd have put that in the outline, I could have bragged for you. So that way, you know, it would have been a better. I'm like, hey, standing O. But when you're like, I got a standing O, then everyone's like, well, yeah, I bet that's the case when he says it. But I'm glad. So you're doing more stand up.
Normally I wouldn't do that, but I was just, you know, after stepping away, it was my first hour in 10 years. So I'm feeling good. And also, you know, with this Kanye thing, the whole world is upside down right now, and I'm very energized.
Here's the thing, we're talking about this. I couldn't care less about Kanye himself, whether people like him or not. He's not a savior. He's not a modern philosopher, as they said on Fox and Friends. For me, it's all about, the truth and the reaction from the left. They're asking him to apologize, not for anything racist, not for things. They're asking him to apologize for supporting Donald Trump. Aren't we vindicated now? Because we said, don't apologize. It's not about the racism. It's not about the sexism. It's just about anything that you disagree with. Yep.
Yeah, well, Crowder, I got to tell you, I'm more of a Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin guy than I am, say, Kanye West guy.
I would have guessed Cher, but those work too.
Oh, you love those stereotypical jokes.
I do. I have never met a lesbian who did not like Melissa Etheridge. I know you don't run in the same circles, but I will say, in my life, I've never met one. They all, every time it's like I walk up, I'm like, hi, I'm Steven. I come to my window. You're like, stop it.
What was happening? What was happening at the window? Did she have a pie? I mean, what was? Oh, there's a joke.
There,
all right.
No, I don't.
Here we go. So I agree with you. Look, I don't know a ton about Kanye beyond the cultural relevance of Kanye and the George Bush thing during Katrina and some of that stuff. I'm not a huge. It's just not my kind of music per se, but some of it's pretty good. David had me playing the one that he did with Daft Punk is pretty cool. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But I actually do think he is a modern day philosopher in that this is someone that, yes, he may not be the greatest philosopher of all time, but he can truly move minds with his words. And for all of us, for whatever little political differences we have, for all of us that for these last couple of years have been banging and banging and banging against this political correct nonsense, this lunacy from the left, this cultural Marxism and collectivism and all that. This is what we needed. Now, we shouldn't be worshiping the guy.
Sure.
I have no idea what his politics are, but he just gave a ton of oxygen to the space that we've been operating in, and we needed oxygen there. So I truly think this thing is massive. But yes, we cannot treat him like some sort of political hero or some, anything like that.
I'm hearing a lot of we. This doesn't sound like a classical liberal Democrat thing. A lot of we's.
Yeah, a lot of we. I don't know what he's talking about.
You want freedom? I'm in with you.
There you go. Okay, there you go. We. So we're collectivists as it relates to individualism. We're the collective individualists. No, but I understand exactly where you come from. I'm actually a big Kanye West fan. We used to use the last bump before we did the drowning dance, which we'll do here shortly, was and it's out to the fans to see if they can remember it, was a Kanye West song every single episode before we went to YouTube, because then it was a copyright issue and we had to actually get clearance from Pogo and I think Andrew WK and a few artists. So I've always been a Kanye fan, actually. I've always said he's a dumbass, but he's a brilliant MC, and my opinion has not changed at all. I think he's a dumbass, but I think there are a lot of dumbass liberals and a lot of dumbass conservatives, and I think that, you know what, it's a lot more brave. We just talked about this, for him to come out and say what he said, then slap on a pair of fake rubber tits and get on the cover of Vanity Fair. So good on him for going against the grain.
Of course, and the irony here is that this isn't that you have to be a Trump supporter because you like Kanye or something like that. The point is that the intellectual hostage taking that we all know about, that we've been screaming about, this lunacy that has infected colleges, that has infected the media, that has affected the political establishment, that Trump kind of beat on for these last couple of years. Kanye just opened the door. He opened the door for you to say, you know what, I'm a little different. And maybe that isn't because guys like us are the biggest fan of him, but he speaks to another segment of the population that needed to hear it. And I think that these people on the left, they're followers, and the second they see that it's okay to think a little bit differently, they're going to break in huge numbers.
Yeah, and he might have just opened the door because he has an axe to grind over Barack Obama calling him a jackass. It could have been as simple and narcistic as half of Donald Trump's tweets, but if it allows other people...
He really is the brother of Trump, because Trump is the same thing. I think it's that White House correspondence in there has really set Trump off the presidency, because he's so pissed.
I think you're exactly right. So I'm curious to see what the fallout is from this. Absolutely. I mean, we just had Nick DiPaolo on the show, who's just fired from SiriusXM for a tweet which was really pretty mild about school shootings. You just saw Hank Azaria apologize for Apu on The Simpsons. I mean, to me, what's so... and then we got to go. We don't have a ton of time. But to me, the biggest problem is now the left has empowered hecklers. They've said, well, hold on, you have to listen to them just as much if there's one person offended. And they've actually empowered hecklers who are offended from content retroactively 25 years ago, like The Simpsons. What, we're supposed to apologize for something that wasn't allowed today? For 25 years ago is perfectly... I mean, how can we... There's no possible way anyone can come out unscathed.
But this nonsense is coming to an end. You know, Hank Azaria, I went on a little Twitter tirade. I admire this guy. I think he's wickedly talented. He does about 30 voices on The Simpsons. He's probably the greatest voiceover actor of all time. The idea that he would apologize for this character, a character who taught The Simpsons about immigration, who had an Indian wedding, he's one of Homer's crew. He is hardworking. He's everything that's right about America. And that they tricked him, that this SJW mob tricked him. Well, is Hank going to give away all the $400,000 an episode he gets to do Apu? I suspect not.
Yeah.
So I want people like
I don't respect him, and I'll tell you why I don't respect him. Because a good friend of mine voices many characters in The Simpsons. I've talked about her. I can't use her name because she's been in the closet as a conservative, and she has been chastised by not just Hank Azaria. I forgot his name. The guy in all the Christopher Guest movies. The guy who does Principal Skinner. SNL.
Harry Shearer.
Harry Shearer, Mr. Elitist Leftist, this woman who is one of the biggest voiceover actors on The Simpsons. She does so many characters. You go, that's her. She has to be quiet because of the Hank Azarias and the Harry Shearers chastising her in the studio. So you know what? Appeasing crocodiles is futile. They've now come for him. Instead of apologizing, he should come out and say, I was wrong, blank, I don't want to use this lady's name. I was wrong. I'm sorry for doing to you what they're doing to me. And instead, they're trying to toss their lot in to save their career. That's why I have more respect for Kanye West. At least, unlike Hank Azaria, he's not apologizing. And I think Hank Azaria is more talented than Kanye West, but Kanye doesn't give a crap.
Yeah. For the record, I meant I respect his talent, not decision here, obviously. But but that's why what I did was I sent a couple tweets out and then I said, Hank, I hope you'll come sit down with me or get him to sit down with you, Crowder, because we can wake these guys up. The mob will never stop. There is nothing you can give them that the mob goes, oh, well, I guess we won and we're going to move on. No, the mob will destroy everything.
Right.
And if we let the idea that Apu was somehow a racist character, or the simple fact that Indian Americans are either number 1 or 2 at almost every socioeconomic way we can grade things, if we throw that away because of some silly jokes, it really it takes down the fabric of what America is. Really.
Let's be clear. Kanye West was asked to apologize for maybe opening the door to supporting Donald Trump. The Simpsons were asked to apologize for creating a character who was a legal immigrant and successful business owner. No apologies. As Andrew Breitbart said, apologize for what? The Rubin Report on Twitter. Good to see you, sir. I know you're busy. We'll have to talk with you soon when we have more time.
Crowder, you know how many times I'm going to have to apologize for just appearing with you?
Don't apologize. Just tell them to go, censor button, tell them to go themselves with a wire brush. I'll see you later, Dave Rubin. Thank you very much. We have to wrap up this show.
Welcome to Wild at Large on the Nature Network, narrated by Jasper Pronks. The Black Widow. The mere name strikes fear in those of all who hear it. An oft misunderstood and one of nature's most dangerous creatures, the Black Widow finds itself in the exclusive position of being one of the few species where the female picks her male mate. As you see here, the heated dance of sexuality is one of nature's most cruel tricks. Unlike most animals or insects, the Black Widow is the one who takes firm control of the sexual direction, picking her male mate. And as you see here, amidst actual copulation, she begins to devour her male mate. I tell you what, it doesn't sound all that different from my ex-wife.
God damn it, Jasper.
Stay tuned for more Wild at Large on the Nature Network, narrated by Jasper Pronks.
Sometimes you gotta kick off. Your face is really red.
My face is really red.
Really good. I actually
Red
didn't
like a
hold my breath that time
strawberry.
because by the way, thank you to Dave Rubin for being on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely little sprite. Always, we're gonna get letters. It was like it's been like breathing through a straw this entire week. So for people who don't know, it was actually the first time we've ever missed a show just because I was so sick.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
It's true.
We've missed shows before because we've had technical difficulties, or it's like, I just can't make it there on time. That was my first sick day. Sick day in the history of the show. Turns out I have a sinus infection and a bronchial infection. And
sounds like code for super AIDS.
No, it sounds like the super AIDS. And I've been drinking the probiotics and stuff like it's going out of style because apparently, when you take I haven't had antibiotics in like years.
Yeah.
So apparently when you take antibiotics, you got to replace the bad bacteria with the good bacteria.
I can tell from experience, it's not pleasant if you don't. It's very bad.
But it tastes like something, you know what it tastes like? Remember in The Wizard of Oz where the Tin Man couldn't move, like, and they oiled him? It tastes like what he would excrete after you oiled him.
That's what familiar with that.
I'm not familiar with it. It's a guess. Anytime you give me crap, remember just how much I paid to import this from an ungodly country so you could keep the better trimmer. You had a point, though, during the break that actually was a really good point.
My point was, with the Kanye thing, something that really bothers me is people like to, HuffPo and Salon and Slade, they like to go off about toxic masculinity, toxic whiteness, toxic
white privilege, yeah.
White privilege. I mean, they go on and on and on. And something I think is far more toxic people don't talk about for the country is this idea of the left's idea of totalitarianism in all things.
Well, no, hold on. I would rephrase it. Not the left's idea. Totalitarianism, the left doesn't realize is an idea.
Yeah, it doesn't even realize.
Right.
Does not realize it's an idea, but they have no room for anybody to step outside the box, which I think is so harming to people. That's why you have these situations where Kanye's like, well, all in then. Yeah, big Trump, MAGA.
The only thing to think is toxic is toxicity itself. And then that Armenian going, that toxicity of our city. I cannot believe that System of a Down ever actually was a band.
Do you think Chink's just mad at Kanye because he can't mow down his wife for being Armenian? Wow.
I do. I'd pay a nickel to see that cat fight between Anna Kasparian and Kim Kardashian. It'd be like when Yokozuna used to do the Rishi butt flop, and then then Goldust was just making out with men.
Hey, you want to just hold hands and snort coke off her ass? Yeah, let's do that. Let's bring this country back together.
No, you can't. It's not off the ass, off the hip bones. It needs to be a stable surface. A lot of people get that wrong. Hey, really, we have some pretty big videos coming up for you pretty soon. By the way, tomorrow we're going to have a review on the Avengers.
On
the Avengers, which I'm not looking forward to seeing. But
I'm looking forward to seeing with you because you're a miserable superhero movie fan.
No, I'm not. Here's the thing. I have certain superhero movies that I really like. Logan, I liked. I actually liked X-Men First Class. Deadpool, I loved. The Dark Knight series, I really like. And if you're going to go to more like a popcorn family friendly, I think Spider-Man 2 with Alfred Molina as Doc Octopus. That was fantastic. The new Spider-Mans, the new Spider-Mans, because then they did it with Garfield. Those weren't good. Then the newest Spider-Man was not very good.
Because I thought he in them was pretty good. I thought he was a good Peter Parker.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
he was fine.
But it's the overall writing and kind of I'm just tired and done with CGI monster villains. I think that's one thing that made certain films. We can talk about this more tomorrow, but some films like Christopher Nolan's much more. They care just as much about the villain.
If you go to Chicago or Pittsburgh, you can go. That's where they flipped the truck on Wacker.
Exactly.
No, I do have a lot of respect. I think Nolan is a bit gimmicky, but I do have a lot of respect for the ones in it. So hopefully, listen, you can come back and check on our review on the Avengers. A lot of people have been asking for more film reviews. They find them pretty helpful. And I know a lot of people are upset at the lack of diversity in the Marvel films right now. We don't care. So I think it's a really good point though that you brought up, not gay Jared. White privilege. Masculine. Now I'm losing the term. Toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
What's toxic is totalitarianism. Mm-hmm. What's toxic is finding a guy because his dog did a Nazi salute. What's toxic is putting a guy before a human rights tribunal because he's a comedian and he made a joke. What's toxic is ruining sitcoms and making them apologize for Apu, a stereotype which is uniquely pro-American in a realm of shows that don't have a lot of pro-American foreign stereotypes. That really is what's toxic. What's toxic is people telling you how to think and what to think. And you know what? We almost did it this if you go back, that's why I said, you know what? Think whatever you want. Because I don't want people to take what I'm saying and feel as though you have to think that way. I think Kanye's kind of a jackass. I haven't necessarily bought in. I think he might be doing this because Barack Obama called him a jackass and he's been seething on that. I don't think Kanye is necessarily someone who should be the arbiter of anything political, but I hate to see someone get jumped on. And I'm not going to tell you what you should think about Kanye West. If you want to embrace him, if you think let's give this guy a chance because we need everyone we can get, we really only had Heidi Montag and Scott Baio, we'll take a Kanye West, go ahead. Go for it. And if you say, hey, I'm going to hold him at arm's length, that's fine. Go for it too. I just think it's important to recognize what's happening. And I think more important sometimes than what someone says, a lot of people get caught up in whether they like the person or not.
Yeah, it's true.
That's irrelevant. Kind of like when we did these shows like at Illinois. I love it, the SMU Republicans because they didn't care, right? They were just amazing. Probably the best group we've ever worked with.
Really fun to work
But in Illinois, right away when people start protesting, they go, well, and we don't agree with everything Steven says. First off, shut up, okay? Because if you're bringing the Louder with Crowder show in, you brought us in. You're already in it now. Apologizing is futile. We saw it because Shania Twain apologized as a Canadian for saying she might have voted for Trump. So you don't need to do that. You don't need to say, well, we don't agree with... Okay, let's remove this aspect of it. Let's remove the person. Maybe you don't like me. Maybe you don't like Not Gay Jared. Maybe I don't like Kanye West as a person. But you can remove that. Your personal support or disdain, by the way, it applies to hero worship. Same thing with President Donald Trump. And look at how people are treating that person or look at the reaction from society at large. And when people try to tell you that this is how you need to think or this is how you need to react, the real reason they are asking Kanye West to apologize is because he's black. It's because he's black and he needs to think a certain way. What could possibly be more toxic in 2018 than telling a black man, you have to think and speak this way, otherwise we're going to revoke your black card? Seriously.
Yeah, they didn't even care about Kid Rock as much.
No, they don't. And that's why when we talk, we always come back to this. And I know Ben Shapiro talks about it as well. That's why we've seen so many stars in both the left and right movement rise and fall because it's just based on the controversy. And we could go after the controversy right now and say, Kanye West, yes, absolutely. We're 100% behind him. But we're not. We could have gone and said...
We wish you had better representatives in Hollywood.
Yes, we wish we had better representatives.
Tom Hanks, somebody.
We could have gone in and said, Donald Trump, he's the second coming of Christ/Reagan. But we didn't. We were honest about it because at the end of the day, being truthful is more valuable. You know, sometimes this week we had a week where a couple of people said, I feel like you're not as passionate about some of these topics because there was a lot of comedy this week. First off, I was at death's door. Secondly, I didn't really care. So I'm honest with you. If you see me get pissed about something, if you see me get passionate about something, that's because it's truthful. I don't want to line something up on the prompter and tell you how it's going to be because I need to do a rant on my Facebook page every day. The truth, I believe, is important above, and I think comedy is a great way to tell the truth. It's a great way. Phyllis Diller said it's a rubber-tipped sword. It's a way to make a point without drawing blood. And the truth right now doesn't center around how you personally feel about someone like a Kanye West. It doesn't center around how you personally feel about Shania Twain. It doesn't center around how you personally feel about Feely with a picture of a gun. It doesn't center around how you personally feel about Donald Trump. The truth is something that needs to be removed regardless of circumstance, regardless of the personality attached to that situation. We've been dealing with that this week. Sometimes just down like, well, this story doesn't really matter that much. And it doesn't matter. If you're watching this show, if we talk, there's some truth. Hopper is not on drugs. That's the truth. Hopper Squirrel. Hold on, let's see. Hopper Squirrel. There you go. See, a lot of people think he's dead. He's not dead. I know if I sound like a broken record, truth matters so much more than trying to score points. And I see people jumping sides to Kanye, and they could be embarrassed. And I see some people making fun of Kanye, and they could be embarrassed. Just like we saw it with a lot of other conservative firebrands, remember? Where people just jumped and, oh, this is a black conservative this is a 14-year-old conservative who's for us, and they screw you. Guess what? If you say, hey, I like what this kid said in this instance, or if you say, hey, you know what? I like what Kanye said here. Hey, you know what? I find it really reprehensible how people are treating him here without saying, I'm all in for Kanye and a foam finger. Guess what? You save yourself a lot of embarrassment down the road. And guess what? And you don't have to apologize. That's another thing. In a world where everyone demands apologies, that's somewhere I'd like to see some more truth. And that's why I appreciate Nick DiPaolo.
Yep.
Like I said, remember this. They will ask you to apologize for anything. So the next time you see a story where they say, well, he needs to apologize, it was out of line, it did seem a little bit racist, they're not asking these people to apologize for racism, for sexism, for homophobia. They're asking Kanye West to apologize for posting a MAGA hat. They're asking Shania Twain to apologize for saying she'd vote for Donald Trump. And by the way, I don't even necessarily know that I agree or disagree with these statements. So when people apologize, they come out, or Hank Azaria says, I'm sorry about it, boo. He's not sorry about Apu. Guess what? You and I both know Shania Twain is probably not that sorry that she said in an impromptu interview, I guess I would have voted for Donald Trump. So I do respect Kanye West for not apologizing. I do respect Nick DiPaolo for not apologizing. I tell my wife this all the time. If I apologize just so that I could not have to sleep on the couch, which doesn't happen, I'm a grown-ass man. I don't go and sleep on the couch of a king-size bed. I just scooch over 1 foot. But I always tell my wife, you would not appreciate me, you would not respect me, and the apologies would be meaningless if you knew they were untruthful. So let's be truthful in how we handle the news and how we disseminate the news and how outraged we get about the news, and let's be truthful with our apologies. No more apology tours, because I don't even know what apologies are true. So if you hear an apology from me or from Not Gay Jared, then you know it must be really bad. We'll see you next week. We'll see you tomorrow. Avengers Review.